Welcome to my next Lost. Season 5 episode review video. Before I get into that though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am in rewatching or watching Lost, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, you find that you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And full disclosure, I've already seen the TV series Lost 3 other times. It's one of my top 5 favorite TV shows of all time. I wanted to rewatch the show to let it resonate, but I'm not the only one that's currently watching Lost. The legendary Crazy Coffee Man, who you see in my comment section for anything Dexter related, Lucifer, Breaking Bad, and some physical media related videos, is actually watching Lost for the very first time. So join us on the journey and let's discuss this awesome and amazing show in the comment section. However, I don't want to see any spoilers past this episode. So with all that said, this will be Lost, Season 5, Episode 4. The title of this episode is called The Little Prince. And this will be my review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. A few days after being rescued off the island, Jack and Kate share a private moment on Penny's boat, the Searcher. Their discussion revolves around what to do with Aaron. Kate expresses that she wants to take care of him because after losing so many people on the island, she cannot bear to see any misfortune befall upon Aaron. Jack explains that he is going to try to convince everyone else to lie about the island the next day, but needs Kate to back him up. He asks if Kate will be with him, to which she answers that she has always been with him. And then we have a flash forward longer into the future. After borrowing a black suit from Sun, Kate leaves Aaron with her at the hotel. As soon as Kate leaves, Sun receives a package from an unknown source delivered by the bellman. The package consists of a surveillance report, a box of Godiva chocolates with a hidden gun inside, and photos of Jack and Ben in front of the funeral home. Back on the island, Sawyer's mad that Faraday knew what happened to Charlotte. Juliet tells Sawyer to calm down. Back to another flash forward, Kate meets with lawyer Dan Norton at his office, offering to provide her and Aaron's blood if Norton will tell her who his client is. He says that she is in no position to bargain and that she is going to lose the boy. Back to the island, John Locke suggests that they travel to the Orchid in order to try and stop the time flashes. Locke tells Sawyer that he needs to get to the Oceanic Six. He needs to get the Oceanic Six to come back. Do you want her to come back, James? He asks Sawyer, and Sawyer says it doesn't matter what I want. Charlotte finally wakes up from 10 minutes of unconsciousness, and it takes her some seconds to orient herself. The group then leaves for the Orchid. Another flash forward. Jack is reviving Saeed at the hospital. Saeed wants to leave, but Jack says he's been unconscious for over 42 hours with a strong dose of horse tranquilizers. The chief of clinical services on the medical staff calls Jack out of the room and berates him, reminding him that he's been suspended for substance abuse and that the hospital is responsible. Jack's phone rings. It's Hurley, who is at the county jail in an orange jumpsuit and seems very happy. Jack tells Hurley Saeed is okay, and Hurley tells him to tell Saeed that he followed his advice. A nurse comes in to give Saeed medication, but Saeed recognizes this as an ambush and moves from the hospital bed just as the nurse attempts to shoot him with a dart gun. After disarming the gunman and choking him, he demands to know who sent him. The man gestures to an address in his pocket. Saeed then shoots him twice with the dart gun. Saeed glares at Ben, and they get the piece of paper from the attacker's pocket. It has an address that Jack recognizes as Kate's. Jack calls her and persuades her to tell him where she is so he can meet her. Ben wants to go get Hurley, but Sayid doesn't want Ben near him and agrees only for the two of them to go together and Sayid be the driver. Ben tells Jack to get Kate and meet them at Long Beach Marina Slip 23 and to hurry as they are running out of time. Back on the island, Locke, Juliet, Sawyer, Faraday, Miles, and Charlotte are traveling through the jungle. The group sees a beam of light coming from the ground some distance ahead. Locke leads the group through a different route, circling and avoiding the light. A short while later, they hear a woman crying. Going to investigate by himself with the M1 rifle, Sawyer sees Kate assisting Claire while she gives birth to Aaron. Overcome with emotion at the sight of his lost love, Sawyer doesn't confront pastime Kate, and the moment is gone when the group shifts through time once more. Locke wants to know what Sawyer saw back there. Locke also mentions it as the light they see, as the light which came from the hatch the night that Boone died. Finding themselves in daylight once more, the group makes their way back to the beach. Miles now appears to be suffering nosebleeds, like Charlotte. He asks Daniel Faraday about it, and Daniel says it's related to how much time you spend on the island. This, of course, confuses Miles, who points out that the survivors have been on the island for months before the freighter arrived, and Faraday asks Miles if he is sure that he has never been on the island before. And then on the beach they find that the camp exists at the moment, but seems messy with a number of the structures in disrepair, and all the supplies either stolen or consumed, with no one nor the Zodiac in sight. The group wonders where everyone has gone. Noticing a pair of wooden outrigger canoes, they speculate that the other survivors may have fled from attackers. Inside one of the canoes, Sawyer finds a water bottle with a label for Ajira Airways, which Juliet recognizes as an international airline based in India. They take one of the outriggers and begin paddling toward the Orchid. After a short while, they notice that the unknown people are pursuing them in the other outrigger. As the other canoe gains on them, the people in it begin to shoot. After trying to escape for a while, Juliet started returning fire with a rifle, apparently hitting one of the pursuers. Before the pursuers can get any closer, there's another time flash, and Sawyer exclaims, "Thank you, Lord!" The group reappears in the midst of a torrential storm, to which Sawyer then exclaims, "I take that back." Back to our flash forward. Kate and Jack follow Dan Norton from his offices to a motel near LAX. Concluding that Norton's mysterious client must be there, they watch as he goes to a room. When the door opens, they see Carol Littleton inside, Claire's mom. Concluding that Mrs. Littleton intends to gain custody of Aaron, Kate attempts to flee, but Jack convinces her to allow him to talk to Mrs. Littleton. When he does so, he discovers that Claire's mom actually has no knowledge of Aaron's existence, let alone his parentage, and was in town to settle a lawsuit against Oceanic Airlines. So while she had met Kate and Jack before and Aaron, she had no idea that I don't think she even knew that Claire was pregnant, if I recall correctly. Maybe, I can't remember. Anyway, Ben and Sayid meet Dan Norton in the police garage when Dan informs Ben that the charges will be dropped against Hurley and that he should be out by the next morning. When Sayid asks who Dan is, Ben says, "Oh, he's my lawyer." The survivors on the island successfully come to shore at nightfall, and Sawyer and Juliet continue their conversation about Sawyer seeing Kate in the jungle, past Kate. Sawyer says that he was close enough to speak to Kate, and Juliet asks why he didn't. Sawyer dejectedly states that what's done is done. The conversation ends when Sawyer indicates to Juliet that her nose is bleeding. So now Juliet has a bloody nose, in addition to Miles, Charlotte, and others. Charlotte then alerts the group to debris from a ship on the beach, noting it appears to have wrecked recently. Locke identifies a canister with a French word on it. Around the same time, a group of French-speaking men and women are in an emergency raft weathering a storm. In the distance, they see a man floating on a piece of debris. They paddle over to the man and pull him into the raft, revealing this man to be Jin. Back to our flash forward. Jack, Kate, Ben, Sayid meet up, but when Kate sees Ben, she looks very disturbed. Jack then tells her that Ben is with him and that he's there to help them and everyone they left behind. Kate then accuses Ben of trying to take Aaron. Jack dismisses it, but Ben quickly says that Kate is right and apologizes to Jack. Kate asks Ben why he doesn't just leave her son alone. To which Ben responds, "Because you're not because he's not your son, Kate." It is also revealed that Sun is observing them from a car with Aaron sleeping in the back and her surveillance photos in the passenger seat. She gets her gun out and steps out. And then by morning, the French group has reached the beach where they offer Jin water. The team is attempting to locate the source of a transmission, wondering if the island is inhabited. One of the men tries to question Jin about where he came from and how long he was in the water, and is frustrated by his vague answers. One of the women, visibly pregnant, asks Jin his name, and this woman introduces herself as Danielle Russo, leaving Jin looking confused. And that, of course, is what ends this episode of Lost. So pretty good as that episode. I liked it. I'll score it an 8.3 out of 10. Characters of the episode are spotlight characters. I picked Kate, Jack, and Sawyer. And then I just made a note that Jin survived the blast of the freighter and is still alive, but in the past. So those are my thoughts regarding this episode. If you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, especially if you're a Lost fan, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button. Otherwise, I'm going to have to put you on the island and you'll never escape. Share the video with a friend. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of Lost. What would you rate the episode? Who would you choose as characters of the episode? There's no right or wrong answer. We all have different opinions. Remember that you'll be interacting with me and the legendary Crazy Coffee Man, but no spoilers past this episode. And then last, but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel. Help me get over 100,000 subscribers. Join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.